Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Did you ever have a crush on that high school teacher? How did it end up? Not myself. But in high school a few girls had a crush on the swim teacher, coach, and a few of them ended up pregnant and he ended up in prison. Yes, he had strong little swimmers. Angry upvotes, just take it and get out. This single sentence has an introduction, a plot twist and a conclusion. This is a more coherent plot than most movies. For sale. Teaching license, now revoked. I had a crush on my math teacher, so I took 2 classes as electives. That's it, the end of the story. I am an accountant now though. The sexiest of all professions. Stupid sexy accountant Flanders. It ended up her telling me to focus on my studies after I gave her a love letter, which she returned back. She also circled all the spelling mistakes in red ink and wrote, "See me." It was a very confusing thing. My IT teacher was really hot. All the dudes had a crush on her. Nothing happened. I left school and she added me on Facebook. We'd spoken a lot about mental health stuff because I'm autistic and she had an autistic brother. Lot of time to just aimlessly chat in an early 2000s IT class waiting for shit to load. Anyway, a few years later I was in a homeless shelter. There was this total nutbag there who kept getting the shit kicked out of him because he was delusional and would accuse people of shit constantly. He ended up getting kicked out. I went to buy some weed from the dealer all the shelter residents used the same day. He was there, loudly shouting, "You don't fuck with A," and thought to myself, LMAO, I wonder. So I asked him if he had a sister named. Got no response from him, just a weird stare. So I pulled out my phone, brought up Facebook and showed him a photo. "Is this your sister? How do you have photos of my sister on your phone?" And just flipped the fuck out at me. Tried to take a swing. I just moved out of the way and he got dragged off by some other customers. Told his sister the story via Facebook. And her first response was, "What are you doing in a shelter?" ... She ended up giving me a job for a while to get me on my feet. Whoa, that's a heartwarming story out of the blue. Nice storytelling skill, by the way. Did you take a storytelling class or something? I'm sorry you were homeless at one point. If you think that's heartwarming, wait till he tells you about his storytelling class. Not me personally, but had a girl openly try to flirt with our teacher. One day she was giggling and jokingly accused him of trying to look down her shirt. Holy shit, did that backfire. He immediately lost his cool and marched her straight up to the office. I cringe at the second-hand embarrassment to this day. He presumably had to. Any suggestion of inappropriate behavior would have to be reported and then monitored by another member of staff. Oh, for sure. I would have done the same thing. Honestly, good for him. He could probably lose his job and all future teaching jobs if a rumor like that started spreading. I've told this story a few times in the past on Reddit. I used to be a teacher. 2 male teachers in the school, myself included. The principal told us that in no uncertain terms that the school would support us if an accusation is made. The priority is to protect the students. We were told to never be alone with a student. The other male teacher and I became friends and he was accused to touching a student. The girl doubled down on when exactly it happened. It was after school during a tutoring class. Which was false because he and I were playing Halo together and my wife was there too. So he had 2 witnesses. Despite this, police pushed on to refer it to prosecution. It was only at that point was the matter dropped, by then it was too late. Media had already published his name. There are other articles that show the charges were dropped but they aren't seen until page 2 and 3 on Google, so he's already been ruined. He obviously quit teaching after that and struggled to find anything for a while. He lived with us for a few years until he was able to get back on his feet. I quit at the end of that year as the whole experience was terrifying for me. I left teaching and went back to IT. Nothing ever happened to the accuser. So what this teacher did was absolutely the right thing. The second an accusation is made, if it isn't hammered down on then and there, the teacher is set for ruin. Even if the claims are unfounded. The second media catch wind. Which always happens because parents will always leak this shit. The teacher is guilty by media trial. It doesn't matter what the outcome is at that point. Yes, it ended up with me no longer having a crush on them. Same. Then found out my 16-year-old son got him as his English teacher, rolling on the floor laughing he looked bloated, shorter than I. Remember and not cool. Edit. Thank you kind strangers for the awards. Loudly crying. Removed. I slept with my 11th grade English teacher. To be fair, this was years after high school when I was 28 and she was 38. I'd traveled back to my hometown for a mate's wedding. She was a friend of the bride. This is a pretty small town, so everyone knows everyone. We sat at the same table, we both got a little drunk and flirtatious. I spent the night at her place. It was fun, but I'm pretty certain the entire town knows. Town in shock as 2 adults nearly 30 and 40 have sex. The Warra. Grade 10 biology teacher. She was really young. Must have been fresh out of teacher's college. Really bubbly and cheerful. Willing to help students. Really seemed to care about her work. Which was not the norm at my high school. I don't remember her name. I mean, it's been over 25 years and biology was one of the subjects I didn't pursue to completion. Never did anything about it. Dear reader, if you were a petite biology teacher in Scarborough, Ontario in the 90s, and remember boasting about having a playset of beta Sarah angels to a tall ogreish socially maladjusted student, hit me up. I'd love to buy you a drink and catch up. Even if it's just platonic. I thought you were so cool. What a lad. May God help you on your journey. What a story. Imagine tapping that. The Sarah angels, I mean. They had, does not tap when attacking. Though face with monocle untappable, Sag.